Ellie Harper was having one of those mornings where everything that could go wrong did. At 25, she was barely scraping by as a barista in San Francisco, juggling rent for her tiny apartment and a coffee shop job that paid just enough to keep her in instant noodles. Today, though, she had a shot at something bigger. A job interview at KesslerTech, some fancy tech company she'd only heard about in passing. She'd thrown on her best outfit, a thrift store blouse, jeans that were slightly too tight, and an old jacket she'd had since high school. Big mistake. Halfway to the interview, the jacket's sleeve ripped and the zipper jammed. By the time she missed her bus and had to sprint 6 blocks, she looked like she'd wrestled a raccoon and lost. Panting and sweaty, Ellie stopped in front of KesslerTech's gleaming glass headquarters. The building screamed money, shiny, modern, and way too intimidating for someone like her. She caught her reflection in the window and groaned. The torn sleeve dangled like a sad flag, and the zipper refused to budge. "Great," she muttered, yanking the sleeve off entirely and tying it around her neck like some DIY. "I'm a walking disaster." She started pacing, trying to fix the mess, flapping her arms like a panicked bird, totally unaware that someone was watching from the top floor. Up in his corner office, Ryan Kessler, 34, and the Millionaire CEO of KesslerTech, was mid-sip of his black coffee, strong enough to wake a coma patient, when he glanced out the window. Ryan wasn't the laughing type. He ran his app development empire with a steel grip, his days mapped out in precise robotic schedules. Colleagues called him the machine behind his back, and he liked it that way. But then he saw Ellie flailing, muttering to herself, turning that busted jacket into a weird fashion statement, and something cracked. He snorted, then laughed. A real, loud belly laugh that made his assistant Jake poke his head in, thinking the boss had finally lost it. "Everything okay, Mr. Kessler?" Jake asked, eyebrows up to his hairline. Ryan, still chuckling, pointed outside. "Look at that. She's fighting that jacket like it owes her money." Jake peered out and smirked. "She's got spirit. Or maybe she's just nuts." "Nuts or not," Ryan said, wiping a tear from his eye, "I haven't laughed like that in years." Down below, Ellie finally gave up on the jacket, took a deep breath, and squared her shoulders. She had no idea who'd just seen her little meltdown, or that it was about to change her life. All she knew was she had 5 minutes to get inside, charm someone into hiring her, and not trip over her own feet on the way. Piece of cake, right? Ellie pushed through the revolving doors of KesslerTech like she was storming a castle, her heart hammering so loud she swore the receptionist could hear it. The lobby was all polished marble and sharp suits. Everyone looked like they'd just stepped out of a Forbes magazine shoot. Meanwhile, Ellie's thrift store blouse was wrinkled, her jeans were riding up, and that stupid jacket scarf was slipping off her shoulder. She clutched a styrofoam cup of matcha she'd grabbed from work, her emergency good luck charm, and shuffled toward the front desk, her sneakers squeaking on the floor. "Hi, I'm here for the assistant interview," she said, flashing a grin that felt more like a grimace. Ellie Harper. The receptionist, a woman with a flawless bob and zero patience, barely looked up. "Elevator, 15th floor. Don't be late." "Thanks," Ellie chirped, bolting for the elevator. She made it inside, exhaled, and glanced at her reflection in the shiny walls. "You've got this," she told herself. "Just smile, don't ramble, and..." Oh no. The matcha cup was leaking, a green drip sliding down her hand. She fumbled to wipe it off, smearing it on her jeans instead. Perfect. The doors slid open and Ellie stepped out, straight into chaos. The interview room was a sleek conference space with a glass table and 3 people staring at her like she was an alien. There was a stern woman with glasses perched on her nose, a guy in a tie who looked half asleep, and then Ryan Kessler himself, sitting at the head of the table in a crisp suit, sipping that jet fuel coffee. Ellie froze. He was younger than she'd expected. Sharp jawline, dark hair, and eyes that could probably see through walls. She gulped. "Miss Harper?" the woman with glasses said, her tone clipped. Yeah, that's me," Ellie said, too loud, stepping forward. Her sneaker caught on the rug and she lurched, the matcha cup flying out of her hand. Time slowed as it sailed across the room and splattered green across Ryan's pristine white shirt. The room went dead silent, except for the drip-drip of tea hitting the floor. "Oh my God," Ellie gasped, clapping a hand over her mouth. "I am so sorry. I'll pay for that." She dug into her bag, yanking out a crumpled $5 bill and a pack of gummy bears that spilled everywhere. $5 and candy collateral?" The Thai guy blinked. The woman's glasses slid down her nose. Ryan, though, just stared at his shirt, then at Ellie, and, unbelievably, started laughing. Not a polite chuckle, but a full-on, head-back laugh that echoed off the walls. "Mr. Kessler?" the woman said, alarmed. "It's fine, Linda," Ryan said, still grinning. He grabbed a napkin, dabbing at the stain. "I needed a wake-up call anyway." Ellie, red-faced, tried to recover. "I swear I'm usually less destructive." "Hi, I'm Ellie Harper, and I'm here because I'm great at, multitasking." Right then, her phone blared, an EDM remix of Sweet Caroline that her best friend Mia had set as a prank. She dove for it, hitting every button until it answered itself. "Ellie, you alive?" Mia's voice boomed through the speaker. "Did you trip yet?" "Mia," Ellie hissed, slamming the phone off. "Sorry, my friend's got a weird check-in policy." The woman pinched the bridge of her nose. "Miss Harper, tell us about yourself." Ellie straightened, plastering on a smile. "Okay, so I'm 25, I've been a barista for 3 years, and I'm super adaptable. Like, today, I turned a ripped jacket into a scarf, see?" She pointed at her neck, where the sleeve was now dangling like a limp noodle. "I'm all about creative solutions." Thai coughed, hiding a smirk. Linda looked ready to quit. Ryan, though, leaned forward, his eyes twinkling. "Creative solutions, huh? What else you got?" Ellie blanked. "I can whistle the Star Wars theme?" She did it. Shrill and off-key until Linda cut her off with a sharp, "That's enough." Before Ellie could dig herself deeper, Ryan stood. "Interview's over. You're hired." "What?" Linda and Ellie said at the same time. "She's hired," Ryan repeated, tossing the stained napkin aside. "Starts tomorrow." "I haven't laughed this hard since ever," Ellie gaped. "Wait, seriously? Even after the tea thing?" "Especially because of the tea thing," Ryan said, smirking. "See you at 8 a.m., Harper." She stumbled out, $5 still clutched in her hand, wondering what the hell just happened, and why the CEO of KesslerTech was smiling at her like she'd invented the internet. Ellie Harper's first day at KesslerTech started with a bang, literally. She'd barely slept, too wired from the shock of landing the job, and showed up 5 minutes late with a coffee stain on her shirt from a shaky-handed pour at home. Her new desk was right outside Ryan Kessler's office, a sleek glass box that made her feel like a goldfish in a billionaire's aquarium. She'd swapped the ripped jacket for a hoodie she'd found in her closet, but it had a faded pizza slice logo on it, which didn't exactly scream professional assistant. Still, she plopped into her chair, determined to nail this gig. Or at least not get fired by noon. Her first task was simple: send a meeting invite to the team. Easy, right? Ellie opened the email system, typed a quick, "Hey, meeting at 10 a.m., and hit send. Except she didn't just send it to the team. She sent it to the entire company, all 2,000 employees, with a selfie she'd accidentally attached of her making a duck face at the coffee shop that morning. Within minutes, her inbox exploded with replies like, "Who is this? And is this a prank?" She stared at the screen, horrified, muttering, "Oh no, oh no, oh no," until Ryan's assistant Jake poked his head out. "Ellie, you just invited the janitors to a board meeting," he said, trying not to laugh. Oh, I didn't mean to, she wailed, slamming her laptop shut like that'd undo it. How do I fix this? You don't, Jake said, grinning, but Ryan's gonna love it. And he did. Ryan stepped out of his office, saw the chaos on his own screen, and chuckled. Duck face, huh? Bold move for day one. Ellie sank lower in her chair. Should I start packing now? Nah, he said, leaning against her desk. Just don't invite the competition next time. Day two wasn't much better. Ellie was told to print some contracts for a big client meeting. She marched to the printer room, feeling semi-confident until the machine jammed after 3 pages. Come on, you stupid box, she grumbled, yanking at the paper tray. A loud crunch later, the printer spat out ink like a dying squid, splattering her hoodie and the floor. She tried to mop it up with napkins, only to knock over a stack of toner cartridges. By the time Jake found her, she was sitting in a puddle of ink, holding a mangled contract like a white flag. What happened here? Jake asked, wide-eyed. I think I killed it, Ellie said, voice small. The printer, I mean, not my career. Yet. Ryan appeared in the doorway, took one look at the carnage, and laughed so hard he had to brace himself on the wall. You're a one-woman wrecking crew, Harper. Is that good? She asked, peering up at him. It's something, he said, still grinning. Get cleaned up. We've got a meeting in 10. The real disaster hit on day 3. Ryan asked Ellie to sit in on a video call with some Japanese investors. Nothing big, just to take notes. She nodded, grabbed her laptop, and settled in next to him in the conference room. Everything was fine until her playlist, left on shuffle from the night before, decided to blast Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics, right as Ryan was pitching a new app. The investors froze, their faces a mix of confusion and mild terror. Ellie scrambled to mute it, knocking her water bottle onto Ryan's lap in the process. I'm so sorry, she yelped, diving for napkins while Ryan sat there, soaked but somehow still smirking. It's fine, he said, waving off the investor's awkward stares. Adds character to the pitch. One of the investors, through a translator, muttered, Very energetic assistant. You have no idea, Ryan replied, shooting Ellie a look that was half amused, half exhausted. By the end of the week, Ellie's reputation was set. The office buzzed with whispers. Some called her Kessler's secret weapon. Others swore she was his long-lost cousin hired out of pity. One intern even started a betting pool on how long she'd last. But Ryan, he didn't seem to mind. He'd wander out of his office, catch her mid-mess, like when she accidentally reordered 50 boxes of pens instead of 5, and just shake his head with that same quiet laugh. You're turning this place upside down, Harper, he said once, watching her try to unjam a stapler she'd somehow broken. Is that bad? She asked, stapler in one hand, a wad of crumpled paper in the other. No, he said, softer this time. It's refreshing. What Ellie didn't know, what no one did, was how much Ryan was starting to look forward to her chaos. He'd spent years building KesslerTech into a tech giant, every day a grind of numbers and deadlines. But now, with Ellie spilling ink, blasting rap, and turning his sterile world into a circus, he felt something shift. She wasn't just a walking disaster, she was a spark. And Ryan, for the first time in forever, didn't want that spark to burn out. Meanwhile, Ellie was just trying to survive. She'd go home to her cramped apartment, flop onto her futon, and call Mia. I'm a train wreck, she'd groan, recounting the day's latest fiasco. You're a legend, Mia would shoot back. The CEO's laughing instead of firing you. That's like a superpower. Maybe, Ellie said, staring at the ceiling. But how long can I keep this up before he realizes I'm a total fraud? She had no clue that Ryan was already hooked, not on her skills, or lack thereof, but on the way she made him feel alive again. And that was just the beginning. Ellie Harper had survived her first week at KesslerTech barely. She was starting to think she might actually pull this assistant gig off, chaos and all, when the universe decided to throw a curveball named Chloe Bennett. Chloe was 32, sharp as a tack, and Ryan Kessler's ex-girlfriend from back when she'd been the marketing whiz at KesslerTech. She'd left him years ago for some hotshot startup, but now she was back, strutting into the office like she still owned the place, all designer heels and a smile that could cut glass. It started innocently enough. Ellie was in the break room, trying to fix the coffee machine Ryan loved, a beast of a thing that hissed like an angry cat. She just managed to get it going when Ryan walked in for a refill. "Hey, you're not breaking it for once," he teased, leaning against the counter. "Miracles happen," Ellie shot back, grinning. That's when the machine decided to betray her, spitting a jet of coffee straight at her chest. She yelped, stumbled backward, and crashed right into Ryan's arms. For a split second, they froze, her soaked in coffee, him holding her steady, both of them laughing like kids. Neither of them noticed the intern snapping a photo from the doorway. By lunchtime, that blurry shot was all over the company Slack channel. CEO caught cozy with new assistant. Ellie saw it on her phone and nearly choked on her sandwich. "This is bad," she muttered, showing it to Jake. He smirked. "Bad? This is gold. People are losing it." "Losing it how?" she asked, dread creeping in. "Check Twitter," he said. Sure enough, the photo had leaked online, tagged with KesslerTech romance and wild speculation. Is she his secret fling? Did she spill coffee on purpose? Ellie wanted to crawl under her desk and die. Ryan called her into his office that afternoon, looking more frazzled than she'd ever seen him. "We've got a problem," he said, tossing his phone on the desk. The screen showed a news headline: "Tech CEO's mystery girl sparks boardroom drama." "Drama?" Ellie squeaked. "I didn't mean to." "I know," he cut in, rubbing his temples. "But the board's freaking out, the press is sniffing around, and I need this to stop before it tanks our next app launch." "So what do we do?" she asked, bracing herself. He hesitated, then leaned forward. "Pretend to be my girlfriend, just for a month. We play it up, let the hype die down, then break up. Clean and simple." Ellie blinked. "You're kidding." "Nope," he said, dead serious. "You in?" She crossed her arms, thinking fast. "Fine, but you're buying me breakfast every day, grilled cheese sandwiches with extra cheese." Ryan grinned. "Deal." They kicked off the charade the next morning. Ellie waltzed into a meeting with a lunchbox, plunking it on the table in front of Ryan. "Made you breakfast, babe," she said loudly, winking at the stunned execs. Inside was a grilled cheese, slightly burned, with a sticky note that said, "Don't fire me, XOXO." Ryan opened it, smirked, and took a bite while the team whispered like they'd just seen a unicorn. By noon, she'd posted a selfie of them sharing a soda with 2 straws on the company Instagram. Old school vibes with my guy. The internet ate it up. But then Chloe showed up. She breezed into KesslerTech unannounced, all blonde hair and power suit, catching Ellie off guard at her desk. "You must be Ellie," Chloe said, her voice syrupy but sharp. "I'm Chloe Bennett. Ryan's, well, you know." Ellie forced a smile. "Oh, the ex. Heard you're a legend around here." "Was," Chloe corrected, eyeing Ellie's coffee-stained hoodie. "Still am in some circles. Just dropping by to say hi to Ryan." She sauntered into his office like she'd never left, leaving Ellie fuming. Chloe didn't stop there. That night, she posted an old photo of her and Ryan at a swanky gala, captioned, "Some sparks never fade." Ellie saw it and groaned. "She's playing dirty," she told Mia over the phone. "Fight back," Mia urged. "You've got the upper hand. He picked you." So Ellie did. She posted a video of her and Ryan eating takeout tacos on his office couch, captioned, "Real love is messy and delicious." The comments exploded. Team Ellie started trending. Chloe fired back with a yacht pic. "Class lasts forever." Ellie countered with a clip of her and Ryan failing at a mini golf game in the break room, laughing their heads off. The fake romance was working too well. Ellie started enjoying the little moments. Ryan sneaking her extra sandwiches, the way he'd smirk when she called him babe in front of the team. But Chloe wasn't done. She cornered Ellie in the lobby one day, all fake smiles. "You're cute, playing house with him, but Ryan and I, we're endgame." Ellie bristled. "Endgame's only real in movies, Chloe. I'm the one with the grilled cheese key to his heart." Chloe laughed, cold and cutting. "Keep dreaming, coffee girl." That night, Ellie lay awake, staring at her ceiling. The plan was to fake it for a month, but something felt off. Ryan wasn't just a boss anymore. He was someone she looked forward to seeing, someone who laughed at her dumb jokes and didn't mind her messes. And Chloe? She was a storm cloud ready to ruin it all. Ellie didn't know it yet, but the real chaos, the kind that'd flip everything upside down, was just around the corner. Ellie Harper was knee-deep in the fake romance with Ryan Kessler, and it was starting to feel dangerously real. She'd gotten used to the grilled cheese deliveries every morning. Ryan even started adding little notes like, "Don't spill this one, champ," and the way he'd catch her eye across the office with that half smile that made her stomach flip. But Chloe Bennett was still lurking, a designer-clad shadow ready to pounce, and Ellie couldn't shake the feeling that she was in over her head. It all came crashing down on a random Tuesday. Ellie was at her desk, sorting through Ryan's inbox, a task she'd finally gotten halfway decent at, when she stumbled on an old email thread buried in a folder labeled personal. She wasn't snooping, honest. She'd just clicked the wrong thing while trying to forward a meeting recap. The subject line caught her eye. Kessler Foundation update. Curious, she opened it. It was from years back, addressed to Ryan from some nonprofit coordinator, thanking him for funding a scholarship program for underprivileged kids in Oakland. "Your $500,000 donation this year will change lives," it read. "Per your request, we've kept your involvement anonymous." Ellie blinked, rereading it. Ryan Kessler, the guy who lived in tailored suits and barked orders like a drill sergeant, was secretly bankrolling kids' educations? She scrolled further. There were more emails, years worth, totaling millions. He'd even set up coding camps, all off the radar. Her jaw dropped. This wasn't the cold, calculated CEO she'd pegged him for. This was someone else entirely. She didn't mean to send it. Her finger slipped. Classic Ellie move, and the email forwarded to herself with a loud whoosh. Worse, it bounced to Chloe too, thanks to an autofill mix-up from a group chat weeks ago. Ellie's phone buzzed instantly. A text from Chloe. "Nice find, coffee girl. Didn't know he was hiding this from me." Ellie's stomach sank. She'd just handed Chloe a loaded gun. By the next morning, Chloe had turned it into a full-on war. She stormed into KesslerTech, all smirks and venom, and cornered Ryan in his office while Ellie watched from her desk, pretending to type. "So," Chloe said, loud enough for half the floor to hear, "you're a secret saint now? Funny how you never told me about those scholarships when we were together." Ryan's voice was tight. "It wasn't about you, Chloe. It still isn't." "Oh, please," she snapped. "You were too boring to share anything real with me. I left because you were a robot. Guess I was wrong about the heart part." Ellie's head spun. Chloe had dumped Ryan because she thought he was dull, and here he was, quietly changing lives while she'd been off chasing startup glory? It hit Ellie like a truck. Ryan wasn't just the guy who laughed at her spills. He was good, deep down good, in a way she'd never guessed. And that made everything worse. She wasn't supposed to feel this much for him. This was supposed to be fake. That night, she couldn't sleep. She paced her tiny apartment, replaying every moment. The coffee catch, the tacos, the way he'd looked at her like she wasn't a total screw-up. Mia called, sensing the meltdown. What's wrong? She demanded. I found out Ryan's been funding scholarships, Ellie blurted, like millions of dollars. Anonymously, and Chloe knows now because I messed up and sent her the proof. Mia whistled. Whoa, that's hot. Secret philanthropist vibes. It's not hot, Ellie groaned. It's terrifying. He's this amazing guy, and I'm just me, the girl who breaks everything. What am I even doing pretending with him? You're not pretending, Mia said firmly. You like him, for real. Ellie froze. She did. She really did. And that was the problem. The next day, she made a decision. She couldn't keep playing this game. Not with Chloe circling, not with her own heart on the line. She typed up a resignation letter, hands shaking, and marched into Ryan's office. He looked up from his laptop, surprised. Hey, what's up? I'm quitting, she said, shoving the envelope at him. I can't do this anymore. He stood, frowning. Do what? The job? The us thing? All of it, she said, voice cracking. I'm a mess, Ryan. I spill stuff, I ruin meetings, I accidentally expose your secrets. You deserve someone who doesn't turn your life into a circus. Ellie, he started, but she cut him off. No, listen, I found those emails, the scholarships. You're incredible, and I'm out. She turned and bolted before he could stop her, leaving the letter on his desk like a grenade. Ryan didn't move for a full minute. He picked up the envelope, staring at her messy handwriting. Thanks for everything, sorry for the chaos. And felt something twist in his chest. He'd laughed off her disasters, sure, but it was more than that. She'd woken him up, made him feel human again after years of being the machine. And now she was gone. Ellie spent the next few days hiding out, ignoring Mia's calls, drowning in ice cream and reruns of reality TV. She kept seeing Ryan's face, those quiet smiles, that laugh she'd pulled out of him, and it hurt. She'd walked away because she thought she wasn't enough, but deep down, she missed him like crazy. Then, a week later, a gold-embossed envelope slid under her door. She opened it, heart pounding. An invite to KesslerTech's annual gala with a handwritten note from Ryan. Ellie, this place isn't the same without you. Come back, please. She stared at it, torn. Was this a goodbye, a trap, or something else entirely? One thing was sure, she wasn't done with Ryan Kessler yet. Ellie Harper stood in her cramped apartment, clutching the gold-embossed invite from KesslerTech's annual gala. Her hands shook as she reread Ryan's note. Ellie, this place isn't the same without you. Come back, please. She'd spent a week wallowing, ice cream tubs piled up, TV blaring, avoiding Mia's relentless pep talks, but this pulled her out of the fog. She didn't know what Ryan meant by come back. Back to the job? To him? Either way, she couldn't ignore it. She grabbed the only decent dress she owned, a navy blue number from a thrift store, and slipped it on. The hem was crooked and she accidentally put it on backward, tag flapping over her chest. Fitting, she muttered, smirking at her reflection. If she was doing this, she'd do it her way. The gala was in full swing when she arrived. KesslerTech's headquarters transformed into a glittering wonderland of chandeliers, champagne flutes, and suits that cost more than her rent. Ellie felt like a fish out of water, her sneakers squeaking against the polished floor as she slipped past the crowd. Heads turned, whispers followed. Is that the coffee girl? She's back? She squared her shoulders, tag still dangling, and scanned the room for Ryan. He was on stage, mid-speech, looking every bit the polished CEO in a tailored tux. Tonight's about innovation, he was saying, voice steady, about breaking molds, and... He stopped cold when he spotted her. The mic hovered, forgotten, as a grin broke across his face. He laughed, loud, unguarded, just like that first day, and hopped off the stage, weaving through the stunned guests straight toward her. Ellie, he said, breathless, stopping a foot away. You came. Yeah, well, she shrugged, tugging at her dress. Couldn't resist a free buffet. He chuckled, then sobered. I'm serious. I've been a wreck since you left. She blinked. You? A wreck? You're the guy who runs this place like a robot. Not anymore, he said, stepping closer. You broke the robot, Ellie, and I'm glad. So I'm changing tonight's theme. He grabbed the mic again, turning to the crowd. We're not just celebrating innovation. We're celebrating the one person who showed me chaos is better than perfection. The room hushed. Ellie's face burned as Ryan looked at her, eyes soft. You taught me to laugh, to live, to stop hiding who I am. So, Ellie Harper. He dropped to one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. A ring glinted inside. Will you marry me and keep turning my world upside down? Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ellie's jaw dropped. You're nuts, she whispered, then louder, yes, but only if I can keep wearing stuff backward. Deal, Ryan laughed, sliding the ring on her finger. They kissed. Messy, perfect, as napkins rained down like confetti. The wedding months later was pure Ellie. Dress snagged, cake toppled, but they danced barefoot, grinning like fools. Chloe slunk away defeated, and Ellie knew she'd found her place, right in the middle of the beautiful mess with Ryan. Ellie Harper and Ryan Kessler's story didn't end with the proposal. It just got better. Their wedding was a glorious disaster. Ellie's dress caught on a chair, the cake collapsed into a gooey heap, and Ryan flubbed his vows so bad he just yelled, I love you, deal with it. But they laughed through it all, barefoot on the dance floor, surrounded by KesslerTech folks who'd become family. Chloe Bennett faded into the background, her snarky posts ignored, while Ellie and Ryan built a life full of spills, giggles, and grilled cheese mornings. Months later, Ellie still worked at KesslerTech, sort of. She'd taken over planning team events, turning dull meetings into taco nights and mini golf showdowns, with Ryan cheering her on. He kept funding those scholarships too, only now Ellie helped, adding her chaotic flair to every project. They were a team, imperfect, unstoppable, and crazy about each other. So, what did you think of Ellie and Ryan? Drop a comment below, rate their wild ride from 0 to 10, love the chaos, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss our next story. Want more messy love tales? Check out the links at the end. Thanks for sticking with us. See you in the next one.